What's up? Brandon Lilly here. What I'm going to be talking to you about today is planning and understanding progress. A lot of guys get so wrapped up in doing everything right now that they make a lot of mistakes along the way. I've done it. Every other lifter I know has done it. So what I try to emphasize to people that I work with on the cube, or really in any training that I've ever done, is to break the year down into cycles, whether that's 4 12-week cycles, 5 10-week cycles, whatever it is. Break it down into measurable time frames. Don't look at it as a year. And what I tell people that I work with right now on the cube is this. Let's say on a program that you've done in the past, you've hit a 50-pound PR, and then the next 6-10 weeks, or whatever the time frame is, your PRs go down, or your lifts go down, and then you don't hit your PRs, and then you take another 8 weeks, and you come back up a little bit. You're always kind of just zigzagging your progress. Rather than doing that, I say take a more systematic approach and look at every 10 weeks as your goal time frame. And in that time frame, let's shoot for just at minimum a 5 to 10 pound PR on each lift. So if we just PR 5 pounds on every single cycle for 5 cycles on each of the lifts, that's 15 pounds per cycle, or 75 pounds a year. If you're lucky enough to get 10 pounds a cycle, that's 150 pounds in a year. Do that over 2 years, 3 years, and you're really talking about some serious progress. So that's what people need to realize, is that gains that come really quickly aren't necessarily permanent. And in this sport, that's what you're always looking to do, is to build on yesterday. So for a lot of guys, if the gear fits one way today and it doesn't fit the same tomorrow, their numbers go down, their numbers change. That's what I'm always trying to say about for the geared lifters, is building real strength inside the gear. That doesn't mean that you have to become a raw zealot and you have to train raw all the time, but actually develop strength in your gear. That's why I encourage my geared lifters to do a lot of reps in their gear. I had Joey Smith is a guy that I'm working with right now on his bench press, and in his bench shirt, he actually did a lot more reps than he's ever done, because I'm not worried about him hitting one perfect shirt setup and technique and everything spot on. What I'm trying to do is on the second or third or fourth rep, maybe, when the shirt is slid up, the shirt's not seated just properly, his arch is relaxed. When all those things have gone wrong, if he can still hit the lift, to me, that tells me that he's gotten stronger. So to my geared lifters, that's the approach I like them to take. Get stronger in the gear. Don't just focus on singles where you're trying to necessarily improve your leverages. Really try to work and improve your strength. The other thing is, and I'll go back to talking about the Russians for a second, we are so focused on the PR here that we will chase a PR and say to hell with technique, to hell with anything else, as long as we get it. And we need to get away from that a little bit and focus on technique. As I've focused more and more on my technique, my lifts have gotten tremendously better. And what they do from a very early age with the European lifters is they start their technique work so early, and they get PRs because their technique improves, and their technique is so spot on that their strength development improves. They don't just celebrate a PR. If it's ugly, they don't look at that as a positive. They look at it as they still need improvement. Whereas here, as long as we hit a PR, we're happy and we keep going on. But what if your technique isn't spot on and you try to hit the PR the next time? Well, every time that you add weight with less than perfect form, you're going to keep going backwards. Your technique is going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and the PRs are going to become harder and harder to come by. So take a note from those people that do it right. And I'm not saying there aren't people here that don't do it right, but become a technician. A person that I always looked at as somebody that was dead on in their equipment was Jeremy Frey. That guy, anybody that's ever seen him lift will tell you his lifts look exactly the same all the time, and he does it perfectly. So let's try to be a little bit more focused on technique, Not always as focused on the PR. Make the small PRs multiple times a year, and you'll be much happier as a lifter because your progression will keep going for longer. You'll stay healthier, you'll feel better, and you will actually be stronger, and you'll be able to measure your progress rather than questioning why your progress is stalled all the time. Thanks.